All right, I made a video about Scott Ritter, the weapons inspector guy. And that was quite the interesting video. I'll link to it. You can go check it out. What you want to do is read the comments. That's what you want to do. And I could not find a better video that you would refer to as bot attacked in hero worship. You really couldn't. He apparently, Scott Ritter talks about all the crookedness that the USA does with the Iraq war and, of course, with the Russian war. And he no longer works there. Now, like I said in my last video, I had noticed somebody was typing the word pedophile and they banned him in a chat. And I decided to go look up the information. I wasn't making a video about putting Scott Ritter down. I wasn't making a video about whether he's right or wrong about Iraq. I wasn't making a video about any of that. All I simply did was make a video showing that Scott Ritter had been charged for being a pedophile. And a lot of people in that video actually, and this is a perfect example of hero worship, people said, oh, you're just trying to discredit him. I can't discredit anything. His choices are his choices. You decide to drink and drive and come home and get nailed for drinking and driving and being impaired, that's your own stupidity. You know what your actions will do. Every action has a consequence. And he should have known what his actions would do. Now, apparently, he was sending explicit online messages, and there was a detective posing as a 15-year-old girl, and then he performed a sex act in front of what he thought was a 15-year-old girl on his webcam. Now, he did get 1.5 years in prison, and that was the second time. There was another time that he was charged, but he didn't, I guess he didn't get any time for it. He also must register as a sex offender under Pennsylvania's version of Megan's Law. He does have a sex offender profile. It's online. You can read it. Okay? A lot of people were saying in that particular video I made, oh, he was set up by the FBI. He was set up by the government. He wasn't set up. He did it himself. Which is ridiculous. If anybody believes that this guy was set up by the government, they got to be stupid. Now, does it affect his information on the Iraq war? I would say no. If you want to listen to a pedophile and believe everything he says, then that's your choice. But I just found it amazing. When we enter hero land or worshiping somebody, or we become a fan like we do with a lot of rock singers and country singers, and like they did with Elvis Presley, we become a very stupid human race. Just because somebody seems to know what they're talking about, and because, he actually worked as a weapons inspector, it still doesn't set aside that he's a pedophile. That's all there is to it. And that's just the facts. Now, what was interesting about that video, and I would suggest you go there and look at the comments, they were just unbelievable. When that video went up, and I don't know if the same thing's going to happen with this video, but when that video went up, in the first 30 minutes, it must have had, unbelievable, like over 100 comments in the first 30 minutes. It was bot attacked big time. And it was bot attacked by the Russians. Now, some people would argue and say, oh, Scott Ritter must be being paid by Russia. It's possible. I'm sure it is. But I wasn't discussing his Iraq escapades or anything he actually did where he worked. I simply stated the man has been charged with being a pedophile. He has to register as a pedophile. And when you register as a pedophile, you cannot carry. I even had a lot of people replying, oh, I'm sure there's things in your closet. Well, I'm sorry to tell you, there's nothing in my closet. I have a perfectly clean record. I've worked my entire life, and I carry. That's it. I don't make stupid choices. Maybe because I could never afford to make stupid choices. But I just found it amazing. And a lot of people say, well, everybody makes mistakes. He's done his time. I don't care if he's done his time or not. If I had a 15-year-old daughter, I would not trust her around Scott Ritter, period. He's got problems. You could even go as far, now this is my personal opinion, you could even go as far as saying, I wonder what Scott Ritter was doing in Iraq with the young girls there, being he was working there as a weapons inspector. I'm sure this stems a lot worse. He just never got caught. And being he was caught twice in the USA and one time he ended up going to jail pretty much speaks volumes. I don't hero worship anybody. I listen to what they got to say. Okay, fine. And I will look up that information to see if it's true. But I don't look upon that person as a hero or becoming a fan. To me, that's just complete stupidity. But one thing this told me was the Russian bots are alive and well on YouTube. And if they're alive on YouTube, they're alive in Twitter, they're alive in Facebook, they're alive everywhere. Now, by having these bots, you can twist a narrative any way you want. Because people don't like to be on the side of the majority. They don't like to be on the side where they're not within the majority. So if you've got 10,000 people saying, well, we're not looking at that, we love what he's telling us about Iraq and he's outing the government. And everybody goes to the comment section, they see all that. They end up agreeing with that comment section. But if everybody was saying how much they hated a pedophile, then I'm sure the narrative would have went that way. And it was amazing. So when you have a bunch of bots trying to twist the narrative, maybe, as far as I know, maybe he pays for the bots to do that when something comes up. I don't know. They did everything in their power to try to get me to take that video down. I even had people saying, oh, he should sue you. He can't sue me. He was convicted. This information is on the internet. I even gave one newspaper article. One. There's over 1,000 newspaper articles on him being charged and actually registering as a pedophile. It's a fact. He admitted to it. He admitted to being guilty. He registers as a pedophile. He's a pedophile. If you choose to believe him, that's fine. But I'll tell you one thing. If you really need to have somebody tell you that the U.S. government is crooked, then you need to get help. Because it's not only the U.S. government, every government's crooked. I don't care which government it is. Whether you come from a communist to a democratic to socialist, they're all crooked. They take from the people. You simply look at any senator, any person in government, when they enter the job, they're making maybe $200,000-300,000 a year, and within 3 years they're millionaires. Why do you think that is? You actually need a pedophile like Scott Ritter telling you how crooked the government is. Really? You can go back and just look in history and look at how many wars the U.S. has had, number them up, and then figure out why we're there. It's your 90% of the time it's because we're over there for the resources. That's it. War hasn't changed. The spoils of war. We just twist it around to make it legit so we can work on the minds of the people that have soft minds. If we got upset and actually held our government accountable every time they did something like this, there'd be nobody in government. But if you need somebody like Scott Ritter telling you how crooked the USA government is, wow, then there's something wrong with you. But that video was attacked by bots big time. Then regular people came in later. So the internet is just seeded with bots everywhere. I'm lucky if I get 50 to 100 views on a video. Go look at that video. It was ridiculous how many views I got on that video. And then it started to make me scratch my head and ask some more questions, because when the bots were hitting that video, you're getting a view, but the average view was maybe 2 minutes. They didn't even watch the whole thing because it wasn't a real person. It was a bot just staying long enough to push the comment and move out and run the program. That's all they were doing. Maybe Scott Ritter has an army of his own bots in Russia. Maybe he's paying a group of people. My opinion. But who knows? But if I'm going to listen to somebody solely on their words, then their background has to be pretty good. Not just, hey, I used to be a weapons inspector. How about, hey, I used to be a weapons inspector, but I'm also a registered pedophile. A lot of people said, what about Biden? What about the prince in UK? What about him? Have they been charged? We all have our ideas. But do you think for a minute maybe they're suppressing that too? It's government. If you believe for a minute your government is honest and has its best outlook for you, it doesn't. Government has one job, and that's to get money and screw you. That's it. They're not there to help you. And that's all there is to it. And this is the world we live in. I don't need Scott Ritter to tell me what's going on in Iraq. I could figure that out in 10 minutes. If you truly need to sit and listen to Scott Ritter yap about how horrible our government is and what they're doing, then you have too much time on your hands. You really need to get a life. At any point, if you want to see what bots can do to a video, I'll link the video up. Go check it out. And, oh, some people said, what's this got to do with geopolitics? It has shit to do with geopolitics. He's a fucking pedophile. That's it. I don't care what he talks about or how smart he is. He's been caught. He's been registered. He's been guilty. Period. You want to do hero worship? You want to act like this guy's perfect? Knock yourself out. Not in my view. I'll catch you guys on the next one.